Marketer, what do these two sets of claims have in common? This first one is for, yes, you read it right, snake oil. And this next text block is from AT&T. They're trying to communicate their value proposition. What is wrong here? Because on the surface, it looks like they're doing a lot of things right. And what do these two ads have in common? We'll find out in a few moments. Let's just review carefully the AT&T claim. We have the nation's fastest mobile broadband network and the largest international coverage of any U.S. wireless carrier, offering the most phones that work in the most countries, the largest Wi-Fi network in the United States based on branded and operated hotspots. Now let's analyze this through the lens of the last several fast classes. You may recall that a value prop is an ultimate reason. It needs to produce 4 conclusions. And we talked about these in the previous sessions. Appeal. You have to get them to conclude, I want this now. Well, does this value prop from AT&T have appeal? Well, it promises speed and coverage. That's what we want. What about exclusivity? I want this now from you because I can't get it just like this anywhere else. Does it have that fact? Well, it says the largest international coverage, the fastest mobile broadband network, the most phones, the most countries, the largest Wi-Fi network. Yes, it has a lot of superlatives. It has an only factor. What about clarity? Well, I understand what they're saying. It's a bit cumbersome. The sentences are a bit long, but all we need is for it to be clear enough for the purposes of what we're learning right now. So how would that work if we were scoring this value prop subjectively, but with our method of thinking, our heuristics? Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, we could give this claim, I think, a 10, because they're offering what we want, coverage and speed. So let's give it a 10. Now, can we get this anywhere else? Not according to them. They have the most phones, the most countries, the largest network, the largest international coverage, the fastest, etc. So I'm just going to divide by 1. So 1 divided by 10 means their score remains at 10. That's the maximum score. It's amazing. Something's wrong, though. Have you figured it out yet? Keep watching. Well, you know that what we do next is we multiply by 0, 1. Is there sufficient clarity? Do I get it? And the answer is yes. So we multiply this 10 by a 1. And 10 by 1 means they still have a 10. This is where things fall apart, though. Because I just want to ask you a very simple, very honest question. Don't think like a marketer. Just become a consumer. The world doesn't need expert marketers. It needs expert consumers. That's who you need to be if you're going to deliver the most results. So think like a consumer and tell me this. Do you actually believe with a reasonable degree of certainty that they have the fastest network? Or the largest coverage, or the most phones, or the most countries, or the largest Wi-Fi network? Do you believe that? I'll tell you something. I've asked audiences all over the world this question, and invariably the answer is no. Now, remember, they have to understand so they can believe. But if they understand and they don't believe, we got a problem. In fact, that's a 0. And what do we do with a 0? We multiply that 0 times 10. And what is 0 times 10? 0. So, regardless of the fact that they got so much of this right, regardless of all that, the formulation still fails to move the needle. It doesn't have sufficient force. Now, you say then, what does this snake oil ad and the AT&T ad have in common? One thing, we don't believe either one. So learn from this, because it's a problem that we all face today in a world where people are constantly lying, exaggerating, and making claims. And with that in mind, we need to drill down. Listen, marketer, the aim here is value accepted, but value accepted is contingent on value believed. They can't believe it if they don't understand it, so value believed is contingent on value perceived. Now, as you think about that, as you think about the heuristic we've been learning, here's the question that we have to ask today. How can we communicate our value prop in a way that people will naturally, instantly believe? We are on section 3 of the landing page blueprint. In the last session, we discovered how to help people understand the what. In this session, we're going to help them believe the why. There are 3 keys. Here is the first. Specification. Substitute general descriptions with specific facts. Folks, specificity converts. Indeed, for any reasonable sample size, the specific offer to the specific person will outperform the general offer to the general person. And That brings me to the second point, quantification. That is, support your message with numbers and data. And I'm going to explain. I'm going to show you an example. Just bear with me. Number 3, verification. Let someone else do your bragging. People don't trust you when you make big claims about yourself. Now, you keep these 3, and let's see how they fully integrate into examples so that you can imagine how you can make the changes to your own pages and get the kinds of results we're going to talk about. Let me start with this one. Here's one of the largest list providers in the world. And let's take a look at the control. Searching for the most accurate mailing list, your hunt is over. 500 free leads today with qualifying purchase. Sounds like a catch, and there is. We have the best data guaranteed. That last line feels so desperate. There's something wrong. The marketer knew there was something wrong. They're trying to fix it, but they don't know how. I don't fault the marketer. In fact, we worked together and solved this problem. Learn how we solved it, but let me start by saying something a bit shocking. They are not lying. They have the most accurate mailing lists, at least at the time of this research. We did a tremendous amount of experimentation and market research, and we not only discovered that they were so very accurate, we also discovered why. And in that why, we found the power to drive results. So we didn't start fixing the page. We actually recrafted the value proposition using something we call a codex, the value prop codex. If you need help building or developing a codex, reach out to me, F.McGlaughlin at MECLABS.com. And I'll either point you in the right direction, help you, or hook you up with a team. But this is the most important thing you can do in your business. You got to get the value prop right. So in this case, the codex said that they have the most comprehensive and accurate lead database. Then there's a list of things. You can see them on the board, all these specific points. But we took that information and transformed it into sales copy that looks like this. We make 26 million phone calls a year to ensure you get the most accurate mailing list available. Trusted since 1972, the name has compiled the most comprehensive database in the industry, including 210 million U.S. consumers, 14 million U.S. businesses, 13 million executives, and more, all cleaned for duplicates and phone verified. Now, this claim is supported by evidentials. You need to learn to integrate evidentials with your primary claims. But let me just show you the example here. 600 full-time researchers dedicated to building, verifying, and updating your data. Our tele-research associates make up to 80,000 calls a day to phone verify your data. And 100% money-back guaranteed on every single lead. See, we're bringing all 4 conclusions. I want this now. I want this from you. I understand this. I believe this. We're building them in the mind of our prospective customer. And we're using techniques that are less complex than it might appear. For instance, that 80,000 calls a day. Do you know how we discovered that? I used the calculator on my phone. And I thought, this just can't be true. Are they really making this many calls? And so I went to their leadership and said, is this the case? Are you really making this? Because we don't want to say it if it's not true. Turns out it was true. And by simply breaking it down the way we did here, we changed the perception of value. And that's what we're learning to do. We have to talk in a way that will be believed. Well, what did that do? What did that produce? What's the difference between the control and the treatment? Well, the treatment outperformed the control by 201%. That's like 3x. And that was just the beginning. I'm going to share with something at the end that'll shock you. It shocked me. But first, let me give you a few more examples. Not this. The Honda Fit is a go. That sounds so agency and so weak. Listen to this. Honda Fit received the lowest number of problems per 100 vehicles among subcontract cars in the proprietary J.D. Powers & Associates 2000X initial quality study. Do you see the difference? Do you feel the difference? Not this. The smartphone name is best in class. But this, the brand, is rated the best smartphone of 2000X by findthebest.com, according to its single rating that weighs the phone's specifications and features, as well as ratings from CNET, PC Mag, Wired.com, and PC World. Do you feel the difference? Now, you should start to be sensing how to bring to bear the most important component in the development of your value prop. You have to design it so that people organically, naturally conclude, I believe this. They have to understand so they can believe. If they don't understand, they can't believe. But if they do understand and they don't believe, you still lose. They have to understand and they have to believe. And then they have to conclude, I want this now, and I want this now from you. And then you have the power to create change in someone's life. Let me give you how that worked out with this case study we started. Here are the other business units that we applied this value prop work to, and here's what we saw. 257%, 28%, 451%, 302%, 603%. Isn't that awesome? Listen, marketer, have you substituted general descriptions with specific facts? Have you supported your message with numbers and data? Have you let someone else do your bragging? Think about these things. Bring these principles to bear, and let's put value props in the market that serve people. Let's stop serving ads and start serving people with the things we put in our ads, the things we put in our pages. Let's make the difference. Thanks.